Greetings and salutations. This is the 90-Degree Director Series for 2014 featuring Dr. Kevin O. Davenport, hosted by the Marching Podcast and sponsored by Block Band Music and Publishing. And now, without further ado, 2014 Directors Podcast Series, you may now take the field.
Good evening. How good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Welcome to the 90-Degree Director Series show. I am your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service for you tonight. Today is July 27th, 2014, 5 o'clock on the West Coast and 8 o'clock on the East Coast. We appreciate all those listening live and or listening in podcast form through Blog Talk Radio, our website, Facebook, Twitter, or through iTunes. At the end of the broadcast, if you decide you like the show, then we appreciate a donation to the network if you feel so in your heart, of course. Just simply go to themarchingpodcast.com and click on the donate button to help improve the show and help build our scholarship fund. All right. Well, thanks, everyone, for listening, and we're excited to kick off Part 3 of our Director Series show. We'll bring in our outstanding, just being an outstanding expert here, Dr. Kevin O. Davenport here in a second, and also the leader and founder and owner of Block Band Music, Mr. Rashard Waters. I just wanted to say we wanted to appreciate Block Band Music and appreciate Dr. Davenport for this. This is the most listened to series in Marching Podcast history, and it keeps going. You know, we put that out a couple weeks ago, and it seems like people are now started listening to the show for more of that. So we've almost doubled our numbers in the last couple of weeks. So we appreciate that. We appreciate all the love and support, but we also want you guys to advance your band acumen with the great Dr. Davenport, and also to purchase his book. We're gonna tell you guys how to do that, and also make sure you purchase it through Block Band. And so we just want to thank Dr. Davenport, thank Block Band Music for the collaborative effort. It's a beautiful thing when we actually sit down and put our minds together and build something together. I think that it's a good feeling, and it's also something that we all should be doing for one another to continue to build our community. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into the band. Let's go ahead and bring in, looks like Rashard and Dr. Davenport are with us in the queue. Rashard, is this you? How you doing, man?
That is me, sir. Unless you're talking to somebody else.
What's going on? And Dr. Davenport, I believe that's representing the good 410. How you doing tonight, sir?
I am here and glad to be here. Apologize for last week. Glad we're able to get back together to do this.
Yes, well, we're really excited that you're here on with us. Also, we want to let everyone know that if you did not get a chance to listen to the previous 2 episodes, you can always listen to those episodes at any time at your disposal. The same links that you are using to listen here will always be the same links that you can use to listen to this same episode in the future. The podcast technology, so to speak, is that this link will always be connected to this conversation forever till the end of time. So anytime that you feel that you're late, or if you missed the podcast and you don't know how to catch up, just use the same link and you will be able to recap or pick us up wherever we are in the live broadcast. So we sure appreciate all those listening. We have a lot of feedback, and all of it's all been very good as we continue to build this. And we're going to talk about recruiting tonight here for the 90 Degree Director Series Part 3. How have you guys, I want to ask you guys before we listen to our sponsors for the first thing, how have you guys felt about the last 2 episodes? I asked you, Dr. Davenport, first, but how have you felt about the last 2 episodes, and have you heard any feedback from anyone?
Well, I tell you, and I really want to put this out there that, we're giving out information, and the wisdom and knowledge I have is because I was blessed with great mentors, great band directors that passed a lot of this on to me. I didn't come up with all of it on my own. I may have refined it, but just to name some of the great men that I've been associated with, Barney E. Smart, I have to put that out there first, may he rest in peace. Emory Fears, William E. Gibson, who was a great high school band director in Portsmouth, Virginia. May he rest in peace as well. Ed Graves down at Tennessee State. Harold Horton from Jackson State and Virginia State. God has allowed me to come across the paths of each of those men and have Paul Adams, to sit down and talk to them and pick their brains. And I just wanted to, have to acknowledge each and every one of those men. We don't get an opportunity to, rub shoulders with greatness often. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that what I'm passing on here helps another generation of band directors. But I don't want to take all the credit for all that we're going to talk about. I'm just glad to be able to have the knowledge and pass it on. I've been excited about what we're doing here. It means the world to me just to be able to share this information and hopefully help somebody else out.
Well, that's great. It's outstanding. We really appreciate those words. Don't be trying to make us cry, man. Not too early tearjerkers too. You mentioning all those names. But yeah, man. But that's really good. I really appreciate. And the man, the one and only, the church star. It could have his own church one day, because we hear so much about this man and his community service through his church. I mean, the brother is just outstanding. The one and only Mr. Rashard Waters. What's going on today, man?
I'm good, man. I didn't know I was doing all that much community service. I'm just singing in the middle chorus. But that'll work, though, man. Man, I'm really excited. Just like Dr. Davenport is. Joe, I really appreciate what you're doing, because you are giving all of us an opportunity to have a community of music in general, but also particularly for show-style bands. Of course, there are topics that we're discussing that appeal to every type of band. But there is a lack of resources as it pertains to show-style bands right now, and you are really giving us an opportunity to really network together and create resources that, band directors who are experienced or brand new band directors can really learn how to solve the problems that they're having. We have had lots of feedback. I get emails from band directors that have either contacted several times about doing business, or band directors that I've never heard of before that are contacting us to find out more about the show. Or, can I watch the show if I can't make it tonight? I mean, it's been truly amazing, and I'm excited to see in the next 2 to 3 years if band directors are using the information that Dr. Davenport provides, both here and the other sessions, to see what bands will look like.
Mm-hmm. Well, I sure appreciate that, man. Yeah, man, and I totally agree. I know that we talked last year, or maybe, 18 months ago, whenever it was, formulating in your head, I definitely thought it was a good idea, but I've actually started to subscribe to Halftime Magazine. Christine Castman, she's a friend of the network, but I've noticed that there is, I wouldn't say that they're competition to us, because the guy, Tim Henson, he came, he was a Chopping It Up guest, he was on the show, but the Marching Roundtable is a podcast where it's the core style version of what they're doing, and they roundtable with students, and they try to get more directors. Well, I've noticed that they've become a sponsor to Halftime Mag, and now their logo says the Marching Roundtable Podcast now. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that maybe they're paying attention, or maybe they've heard some trickling of some things, and so I think that it's really, really important now to have this discussion with highly intelligent academia of instilling something into educational environment, because I guess people are listening now, And like you said, this is a resale for show style marching, and we can expand and do whatever to cover the planet. But this is the resource that is needed. So I thank you guys for making it a reality, and hopefully that we'll be able to reach out to more high-ranking officials, so to speak, in the future. Speaking of high-ranking academia, the outstanding book that is out here available, can you guys, or Rashad, can you let the listeners know about the book before we take our first commercial break here?
Yes. So Dr. Davenport has written a book, one of the few books that are out there that are, well, I wouldn't say necessarily focus on our style, because the techniques that he talks about are things that are practical for every type of band program. However, it is one of the few books that are actually written by somebody in our style. And he talks about a lot of his secrets towards recruiting and retention and dealing with administration, choosing the right type of concert band music. I know that he's got another draft on the way. Name of the book, please forgive me, Dr. Davenport, if I completely butcher it, but it is Practical Techniques for the High School Marching Band.
For building the high school marching band, yes. For
building the high school marching band. You can't forget the build part. And that book is available through Amazon and other sources. However, when you get that book through Block Band, just email us. People have asked, how do I get it? Just email us at blockbandmusic@gmail.com and say, how do I get this book? and we will send you a PayPal link or tell you otherwise how to send us a check to do it. The book is available for $25 plus shipping, which I think is just $3.99. And when you get the book through Block Band, you get a special treat. You get Dr. Davenport. He will autograph the book for you and send it to you, and you will be able to access him directly, personally, for one whole year with no additional charge. So you can spend a couple of dollars and get it through Amazon, but you're not going to get Dr. Davenport. You'll just get his information. But when you get the book through Block Band, we will provide you with his email address and phone number, and you can call him at any time. Well, not any time, but you can call him throughout the year, and he will provide this expert advice for you. Just a note on that, Dr. Davenport is a mentor for Block Band. I brought him on board not long after I met him, because even from the standpoint of running a company, his knowledge has been invaluable to me personally as far as motivation and recruiting and retention and things like that. And so I personally can tell you guys about the value of his knowledge.
Well, that's outstanding.
I have to say thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, man. I also put the address, the email address there in the chat room. If you have a Blog Talk Radio account and you're listening live, you can join our chat room and leave your comments there. I see some people there in the chat room, but I went ahead and put the address there for people there so they can send that to you, and that would definitely be outstanding. Also, definitely picking from his knowledge, and if you've listened to the previous shows, I've talked about how insanely nervous I've been getting teaching my community college class, but the attack of preparation learned from Dr. Davenport has definitely helped with my anxiety and definitely with my preparation, trying to just, prepare all of the classes ahead of time. That preparation is how I've been able to help with that anxiety, and that's something I really appreciate that, because we talked about that in the first podcast, and I think we reiterated it in the second one. So yes, Dr. Davenport knows what he's talking about, folks. So let's go ahead and get the sponsors out of the way, and then we'll dig into recruiting, because that's something we all want to be talking about. In fact, Nick Saban paged me, and he was talking about what time he should be listening, because he wanted to talk about recruiting. You know what I'm saying?
Who said that?
Nick Saban. The dude from Alabama. He hit me up, and he was like, Joe, what's Dr. Davenport? I was like, yeah, what's up? And I was like, all right, listen, it's 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So we got people listening tonight. So we'll go ahead and pay for these sponsors, and we appreciate all those listening live. Again, you're listening to the 2014 Director Series from the 90 Degree Show and the Marching Podcast Network and good old Block Band Music and Publishing.
Hey, band heads, this is Christy Walker. I'm alumni of the North Carolina A&T Blue and Gold Marching Machine and one of the creators of thefifthquarter.com, and you are listening to the 90 Degree Show on the Marching Podcast Network.
Having an anniversary party, birthday party, or better yet, you're about to marry that special someone? Liquid Effects Photography is the perfect choice to immortalize all your most special moments. With 10 years of dependable professional service that can deliver from the conventional to the best in cutting-edge technology and creativity. Come experience the uniqueness of Liquid Effects Photography. We serve the entire upper Midwest and will travel further upon request. Come check us out at liquideffects.com. That's LIQUIDEFFEX.com. Or call us at 773-454-5556. That's 773-454-5556.
From photo shoots to graduation pictures, from probates to band footage, from pageants to yard shows, there's only one team you can count on, the Edge1 Productions. Visit theedge1.com and trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on Bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to bandhead.org. Bandhead.org, a social network for bands.
Hello, this is Duncan C. Gray, Director of Bands at West Charlotte High School and proud graduate of Winston-Salem State University. You are listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
All right, thank you, everyone, and we are glad to bring you back. Again, just letting everyone know that if you are interested in becoming a sponsor to the show, just contact the network, and we'll do all we can to promote your business using our platform. We'll play your commercial. We'll post your information and your website on our blog and all our social media, and we'll be adding unlimited tags to all our episode shows, and we'll make sure that we add your business to that as well. So make sure that you contact us so we can help promote your business. So in getting right down to it, let's go ahead and dive into recruiting. As we've done before, I'll go ahead and pass the mic over to our resident expert, Dr. Davenport, so we can go ahead and start our discussion this evening. So, Dr. Davenport, are you still there, Dr. Davenport?
I am here.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So I'll go ahead and give you the floor, sir.
Okay, well, I would like to start by just kind of giving some background in my lab experience and how I developed what I'm going to talk about here. I spent 10 years as band director at Ashley Norcom High School in Portsmouth, Virginia, which is actually my alma mater. And when I went there as band director, they were coming off some very bad years as a band program, which was really depressing for me, being an alumnus of the school. The program had dropped to about 32 students. They were not having success in concert band or marching band. As a matter of fact, I had a chance to see the band in May at Memorial Day before I took over the band in June. I was 22 years old, and Portsmouth, Virginia has a Memorial Day parade every year. So I had a chance to see the band before I took it over, and the band was coming down the street, and it was about 32 people. And I'm standing in the crowd and actually hearing people in the crowd go, yuck, this is horrible.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, I've got to take this over in a month.
Mm-hmm.
But to see it drop to that level was hard. I mean, I had just come out of college. And I had to figure some ways, some methods of turning this thing around in a hurry. Portsmouth, Virginia, particularly I.C. Norcom, is not very patient when it comes to their band. So I in prayer, in talking to some of my mentors in the area, I started to develop, in listening to what they were saying, a way to start to build a program. As I said, in May, the band was 32. By our first performance at the end of August, we had 110 in the band. And it was through some recruitment techniques that people made suggestions. I came up with myself. We were able to develop the band program very quickly. Now, I.C. Norcom at the time only had a little over 600 students. They ranged from kids from the projects to kids in high middle class. The band was about 98% African American. Had some of the worst instruments in the world. Our instruments that averaged 30 to 35 years old. We went out and got instruments from the pawn shop and everywhere else we could just to have equipment. So I just want to kind of, put that out there, that this was not an ideal situation. And I know none of us are really dealing in an ideal situation. But we can still use some very solid foundational ideas in order to build what we have now to move forward.
Dr. Davenport, real quick, I just really want to make sure everybody caught that. And I did use that in a lot of my marketing for the show. But, again, you started, when you first took over the band program, with 32 students. And that included everybody, or was that just the wins?
That was everyone.
Everybody.
That was everybody. On the first day, it was 32.
And then by the time you got to the first game, you had 112 students in the band.
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
Also, right fast. I just want to I know I see a couple of people have been calling in. I just want to let you know we're gonna wait till a later segment to take more of the callers. But we want to go ahead and let Dr. Davenport go ahead and school us on some things first before we start more of the correspondence or whatnot. So if you are there in the queue, you're welcome to stay there and listen through your phone. Just make sure that when we bring you on, if you are listening or if you have it on your laptop, make sure you mute your laptop so we don't get the echo, and you can continue to listen through the phone. So go ahead, guys.
Well, I think that what needs to be understood, particularly nowadays, is that the day has passed where students automatically come to band. I think we've all had experiences where we walk in the band class the first day of school and half of the kids have never played an instrument. Some of them don't even want to be in the band class. They got put there by the guidance office. Or they have you teaching general music or something else because you have so few students in the band program that in order to justify paying you a full-time salary, they have to have you teach something else. Well, you need to turn it around. And the way that you need to turn it around is by recruitment. Recruitment for band now needs to focus the same way as if you would do for a business. And we all have to understand that recruitment is marketing. Everyone nowadays wants to know what's in it for me. And as a band director, you need to be able to verbalize, first internalize and then verbalize a way of answering that question, what's in it for me? Every student sitting in front of you wants an answer to that question. How do you approach being ready to answer that question? Well, the first thing you have to do is be sure that you know the answer. You have to develop a philosophy for why you are teaching band and develop a vision for what you want to do with your program. And you have to sit down and take time to reflect on what you intend to build, how you intend to build it, and what the student's part plays in the building of that. Now, in my book, I take the first 2 chapters to talk about philosophy and vision and go through step by step how to build a vision and philosophy for band programs. And you need to take the time to think through the steps in order to build your vision. Remember, if you get in front of a group of people and you talk out of your passion for what you are doing, it will become infectious. But you have to believe in what you're trying to accomplish before anybody else will believe it. The next thing is that once you have a vision and you have a philosophy, when you go to present that vision and philosophy, you need to be truthful to the people that you're speaking to. Whatever your plans are, whatever you plan to do with your program, you need to make sure that you are not doing pie-in-the-sky things or speaking things because you think that's what they want to hear. You need to present it in a way where you know you can achieve what you're talking about. So you have to put it out there with some confidence, and you have to be passionate about what you intend to do. When trying to talk about what's in it for me, you need to have a list of realistic benefits for the student. Why should they be in your band program? What will they get out of being in your band program that they can't get anywhere else? Some examples of things you want to think through in order to answer that question are things like band travel. Where will you take your band to? A chance of achieving college scholarships. Now, if you're going to put that out there as a benefit, then you need to make sure you're being a music educator and a developing musicians that are going to be in a position when they finish your program to have the knowledge to go out and get scholarships. New experiences. What experiences will they get in your program that they can't get anywhere else? Uniqueness is very, very important to people. People want to feel like they belong to something special, something that not just the average person can be a part of. So what new experiences are you going to share with those students that the only place they're going to get it is by being in your band program? You want to talk about awards. You need to have an award structure set in place that students know that as they do what they're supposed to in band, they're going to be rewarded for their putting out their energy. And it can't be haphazard. It needs to be very structured. Also, you need to be able to show students where their importance in the program lies. Not only do you have things to give them, but you need to be able to show them what they have special to bring to the program. Students want to feel needed. They want to know that what they're doing matters. And you want to get them to the point where they feel that if they're not there, part of the puzzle is not in place. And that's by being able to show them your vision and philosophy and explain to them how they fit into it. Once you have that in place, once you're able to answer that question, of course, the next step is being able to go out and find people to give that answer to. And that's finding band students. Hopefully, I'm going to give you some ways to locate new students for your program. This is aimed especially for people in new situations, new band situations. You walk into the band room, the band director shakes your hand, the principal shakes your hand and gives you the keys and says, "Congratulations, now what?" If you're in a situation where you've never been there before, how do you find the students that are in the band? Well, one way is you want to search and try to find out if there is a band roster from previous years. Has someone written out a list of the students that have been in the band. Now, you don't want to just find a list from just that previous year. You want to try to locate lists from 2 and 3 years back. Why? Because that will help you try to regain some students that may have dropped out the band, that got lost along the way.
Dr. Davenport.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I got behind with some of the stuff here in the chat room, but I just wanted to just go over the first part of what you just talked about under the your first heading, the understanding that recruitment is marketing. I just wanted to go over those points with the people in the chat room. I was able to put everything down that you said. I just want to just reiterate those so people could catch up if they can, and also, too, for the people who are unable to see what we have in the chat room, just in case they're taking notes. So, Dr. Davenport, you went over understanding that recruitment is marketing, and then the first thing that you said, you wanted to make sure that you were able to answer the question to the students that what's in it for me? Or basically, that's what the student is going to be asking, and you're going to be able to answer that question. You said that you make sure that these directors make sure they know how to develop a philosophy and a vision for their program. When they address their students, making sure that they're being truthful about their plans. When they're talking to students about the band and their program, have the list of realistic benefits for the student, or the realistic expectations or learning outcomes, so to speak. Band travel, the chance for college scholarships, letting the student know what's all out there for becoming part of this program. New experiences. Definitely, we could definitely talk about our stories of competition.
Oh, yes.
All of that stuff with what made us better, in the future. Awards, definitely to reward the psyche and build confidence in the student. But in a nutshell, like you said, being able to tell the students why they're needed within your program. And students want to feel wanted. They want to be there. It's so true, because we actually, we really think about that. We always hear someone saying, oh, I'm really good at playing the trumpet, or I'm really good at playing basketball or football. And you always hear, oh, yeah, Nebraska and so, they keep calling my house. You know what I'm saying? Because students want to feel wanted. You know what I mean? I totally understand that. So that's, I guess, the first module, so to speak, and then you moved on to the second part, finding the potential band students. The principal has given you the keys. Boom, now what? And then your first thing was researching the band roster, make sure that it's not just in the previous year, but over some time that they're researching the band roster. Okay, so that's where we are, just to make sure everyone's in the chat room caught up. So thank you, Dr. Davenport.
And I want to emphasize that this, just like the other two that we talked about, we're talking about planning. That keeps coming back up, doesn't it? Prior planning, having a plan for how you're going to approach things. And like we said, the first thing is knowing when you walk in that door, you're going to try to find that band roster. Look through the file cabinets in the band director's office. Find out who the band parent president was if you have a band parents organization. Ask them, do they have records of students and parents' names and phone numbers. You want to locate that information as soon as you can. If you can't find band rosters, the second thing that you might want to do is find uniform records. Hopefully the previous band director has kept records of who has what uniform. If he's done that, then chances are that they've written down names and addresses and phone numbers of students that have been in the band the last 2 or 3 years on the uniform records. So if there's no band roster, that's the second place you may want to look. That will at least get you started in seeing, okay, how many people were actually in the band last year? Well, how many were in the year before? And you can start to get a history of what's been going on there. Okay? The third thing, and this is when you really can start expanding the number of students that you have a chance to recruit. After you search that band roster and found those uniform records, Go to your guidance counselors. Ask them for permission to look through the student records of students over the last 2 or 3 years. See who is taking band. For incoming freshmen, see who took band in the 8th grade. Right about this time of year, the records have been transferred from middle schools up to the high schools, and the guidance department are trying to organize them and, of course, schedule them for classes and, put them away. But if you have a relationship with your guidance department, sometimes they'll allow you to sit down and actually start flipping through the student records from students in middle school. See who played an instrument in the 7th and 8th grade that may not have signed up for band in the 9th grade, may not know anything about band at the school they're going to. And start making yourself a list, names and phone numbers. Once you have started to put together a list from these 3 sources, sit down, get to a phone, and start making personal contact with parents and the students that you have discovered, especially those that are currently in the band. You need to contact them to tell them about when your first meeting is, when your first band rehearsal is. But others you want to call, you want to briefly give a philosophy to those parents, to the students, and you want to invite them out to your first meeting, your first band practice, so they can see what's going on. A lot of them need to see that it's not what it was before. It's not status quo. You have a plan. You have a vision, and you start setting that in motion the first day. And it takes personal contact. It takes picking that phone up and calling and saying, I'm so-and-so, I'm the band director here. I want to invite your child to come out and be a part of my band program because this is what we're about, and these are the kind of things that we're going to do. And believe me, parents' ears perk up when you say this will give them an opportunity to have a scholarship for college. Notice I said opportunity for a scholarship to college.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Parents, listen to that. That means money.
Right.
And knowing how to say the right word. Notice that was not a promise for a scholarship. That was a promise for an opportunity for a scholarship. See the difference?
Yes.
That's being truthful about it, because a lot of that is going to depend on how much effort the student puts into learning that instrument and how much effort they put into the band program. Another good way to find students from the past, once again, particularly if you're a new band director, is when you have that first meeting and you explain your vision and philosophy to the people that are still in the band, start to talk to them about students that they know used to be in the band but got out for one reason or another. It could be work, it could be to play sports, it could be because they were frustrated and just tired of what was going on. But start to ask them, pick your own students' brains about who these students were, because you'll start to find out that a lot of good students had left out of a band program, particularly if it turned in the wrong direction and they just simply got tired and got frustrated. So you want to use these particular methods to go find new people. The last one, and I'm going to tell you how my program really went from 32 to over 100 in the course of a summer. After the first couple of rehearsals, and the students that were in the band realized what I was about and what we were trying to build, I made a challenge to the students that were there. The challenge was I challenged each of you all to go out and recruit one person into the band program. Now, you know what we're about, so don't go and recruit anybody that's, is not going to follow what we're trying to build here. But go out and recruit and bring a person back so that we can start to build this program. Some people brought back 2 and 3 people. But you see, the band tripled in size in the course of a summer. And the students that were there that went out and recruited other people had their chest stuck way out. Hey, I brought somebody else here. Look at what the band looks like now. I've done my part to bring more people in here. Now they've bought in. They've invested, because they've gone out and they've recruited somebody to the program. Everybody think, what would happen to your program if everybody that's currently in your program went out and brought one person back with them? That's a heck of an image. You know, I even went a step further. Every year, when I had drum major tryouts, no one could try out for drum major unless they could recruit 3 people that would take their place in the section if they made drum major.
Wow.
So if a trombone player wanted to be drum major, he had to either go find 3 trombone players that weren't currently in the band or bring 3 that were willing to learn how to play instruments.
Wow. Dr. Davenport, when you just said that just then, and that's something that you just hit me with. I hadn't even heard of that. It's going out on me. Man, well, I'm telling you, you just blessed some people right then, because there's so many people that are having to choose between having a drum major or not. You know, they want to have a leader for the band, but at the same token, they've got 1 trombone player, or generally your drum major is going to be one of your strongest musicians, or they're choosing somebody that is not the greatest leader, not the greatest musician, but they can dance really well, so they don't mind missing them, but you're defeating the purpose of really having a drum major.
Hey, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I tried out for drum major in high school. I was a tuba player. We only had 2. I tried out for drum major in high school, and I did not make drum major in high school. I mean, and I was prepared, okay? After going to Tennessee State, of course, I became head drum major at Tennessee State. And when I became head drum major at Tennessee State, my high school band director had become assistant band director at Tennessee State. And the first time I marched drum major, he stood on the sideline and cried. And I did not know why until after I graduated and went back to Norcom. I found the tryout sheets from when I tried out in high school. I had scored the highest. But because I played tuba, he couldn't make me drum major.
Wow.
You know?
Right.
So a lot of times, well, to me, a drum major should be one of the best musicians in your band.
Right.
Well, but the other side of that is, do you take one of the best musicians you have and make them drum major? Well, now think about this. I, on average, had 7 to 10 kids, and we had like a 4-month drum major tryout period, and that's a whole nother story. But each of them, before they could start trying out, had to have 3 people in place that were learning to play their instrument or already played it and committed to being in the band. Well, if 10 people were trying out for drum major, how many new people were that in the band program? 30. So you can see how that becomes recruitment in itself. Right. You know?
It's also...
And that's...
Oh, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Well, that becomes motivation for leadership, too. If you're going to be drum major, but you can't go out and recruit people to the band program, are you really a leader?
That's what I was just about to say. That's like a good test, too, to see what they're made of, to see what they do or how it works out, you know, if they're able to bring someone in that's able to buy in. And, yeah, it's like a good test, you know, to see if they're up for the challenge. Yeah, definitely.
And I always stress, make sure you bring people in here that can live up to the philosophy and visions we have for this program. Don't bring no knuckleheads in this room. You know, bring people that you know are going to be committed to this and serious about what we're doing. And that's the important part. So, and I'm sorry I got off a little off track there.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and let's get one. I'll get one of the commercial breaks out of the way, just so we can probably in this next segment talk a little bit longer. I know the next couple will probably definitely take up some more time. We're about halfway in, but let's go ahead and get just one more. Let's say hello to our sponsors one more time for this podcast, and then we'll come right back here with the recruitment series with the 2014 90 Degree Show Director Series with Dr. Kevin O. Davenport.
Hi, this is Thaddeus Dixon, Crab of 94 on the Sonic Boom of the South, graduate of Jackson State University, class of 2000. And you are listening to the 90 Degrees Show at the Marching Podcast Network.
Need to write music and drill? Get it on the field. Outfit your band. Keep your administrator happy and still have a life. Encountering drama in the process, ain't nobody got time for that. Let Block Band Music assist you with musical arrangements and drills to fit your band, and also the equipment, gear, and accessories to keep the visuals, music, and marching on point. Contact blockbandmusic@gmail.com and see how this worldwide minority-owned business can uplift your band.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on Bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out Bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org, a social network for bands.
Hello, this is Brenda Henty, teacher at Emmanuel Lutheran School in Olivet, Missouri, and proud graduate of Concordia University, Chicago, Illinois, 1987. You are listening to the 90 Degrees Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
Okay, we are back, and we'll bring Dr. Davenport back in to finish our discussion here. We'll bring Rashard back in as well. So go ahead, sir. You were back. We left off with we were challenging the drum majors to bring people on with their band. That was, I think, the last point here. Were you going to reiterate something back in the second module?
Well, one thing I want to is expand from that thought. And while the drum majors were required to recruit people, you want to constantly challenge your students to continue to build on their own program. By having them go out and do the recruiting or assist you in recruiting and teaching them the philosophy of what you're trying to do, you get buy-in from all the students. They become committed. I found that when a student brings someone else into the program, they're less apt to leave themselves because they feel some duty to their person to help get in the band. You know, generally, if they're going to do that, they're going to go out and find friends of theirs.
Right.
So if they're bringing friends in, they're going to stay because now they're with their friends. You see what I'm saying? So we want to challenge every student in the band to constantly recruit for the program. The only way they're going to do that is they have to believe in what's going on there, though. And they get their belief from how you put forward the vision. Okay?
Dr. Davenport, a question on that. So let's say you were playing a certain caliber of music, you know. You're really pushing your band to be the very best, and so you're challenging them. And then one of your, drum majors or whoever brings three people into the band that have never been musicians before. How do you make it? How do you make band something that is approachable for them instead of them coming into the classroom and saying, "Wow, this music is great for the band, but it's way too challenging for me to pick it up." And or how do you do it without dumbing down the rest or slowing down the rest of your band to accommodate those people that are never been in band before?
Because there was, and once again, this is prior planning, there was no immediate entrance into the program as it was going on. What I would do is, drum major tryouts usually happen about January, and actually I started talking to the entire band about recruitment for the next year around January. Once again, prior planning, okay? So they would bring people that they found in February, March. I would put them in an after-school day. I took an after-school day where I just simply worked with new people. They didn't come into my full band rehearsal. They came into a beginning band situation where they could be trained on the instruments. A lot of times I would have them pair off with somebody that played the same instrument that they did to start doing basic beginner fundamentals with them, and they did not transfer over into the full program until they were far enough along with that instrument to be able to handle it. Because you don't want to bring new people in and then immediately frustrate them. And if you brought them into a program where they just could not handle the music, they could not float, they would become frustrated. Where I would allow them to participate with the marching band, we always had spring band camp. After concert band season was over, we'd start back up to prepare for Memorial Day parade. So they could come and they could be a part of the physical activities of marching band, learning how to march, learning all the commands, that kind of thing. But they weren't marching and playing an instrument. They weren't carrying an instrument and acting like they were playing. They were simply learning what they needed to from the physical standpoint. But they didn't become full-fledged members until they got up enough on that instrument where they could handle their part on the music. Okay. Did that answer your question?
Well, so in that instance, and I'm looking at, again, at some of the smaller bands that, maybe they've tried this. They've got, 2 trombones and, I kind of walked into that situation where I walked into a band that was doing that, where they were allowing students to come into the band program that had never been in band before. Now, I picked up some really kids that over time throughout the year, they got really, really good on the instruments. But at the very beginning of the year, they were really far behind. And some other band programs will be in a situation where really they don't feel like they can afford to turn away those kids that are excited to join the band but maybe have never done anything. What would you say to them? Would you say still turn away those kids and hopefully their excitement will continue to the next year, or would you bring them on board?
Well, I wouldn't turn them away, but what I would do is have a separate thing in place to train them. You can't just throw them in the water and think they're going to learn how to play an instrument. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to spend some time in a separate environment working with them on developing their fundamental skills. Mm-hmm. My thing is always planning for the future. If I'm faced with a 35-piece band that can handle what I'm doing right now, this season, that's what I'm dealing with. Now, if I have some people that want to be a part of it but need training before they can be, I'm not going to stick them in with the others. I'm going to train them and then transfer them in. The reason I'm going to do that is for 2 reasons. Number one, we talked about the fact of frustrating people that are coming in and don't know how to play and are trying to keep up with what these people are doing. But the other side of that is frustrating the band you have now that are already more advanced and slowing them down because these new people are coming in and can't keep up. So I'm going to work with what I have in front of me for right now while I develop people to bring in later. Okay? It's not a quick fix. It's planning down the line. It's being proactive. It's always recruiting for next year. So I may go ahead and keep my 35 that I know are ready to handle what I'm trying to do right now. But in the wings, I'm developing wings. You know what I'm saying? So this is the long term. Once again, we're not talking band. We're talking band program. There is a difference. This is band program that we're talking. Always developing for the future.
Okay, we got to move it along because we got about 25 total minutes left. I think that we already said that it's going to be a part 4. It's going to be a 4-part series, so definitely I think we're going to have some information about recruiting. Plus, I would like a lot of time now that I'm looking at the people that are in the chat room and then the people I'm looking at some of the numbers that are listening live. I definitely would like to probably hear from some of these people too, but I know that we have some more material, so we'll go ahead and put it out there that we're going to have part 2 to this. More than likely, we're going to try to have it a week from today. We'll put it together, but we're probably going to be having more of the conversation with a lot of the guests here based on a lot of the information we talked about today and the information that we talked about in the previous 2 podcasts. I just have to go ahead and we'll just give props to everyone involved just because the meters and all the numbers are like kind of going like off the chain right now. So I kind of want to hear from everyone too. You know what I mean? So we can go ahead and we got 35 minutes left. We're going to go ahead and finish up what Dr. Davenport is saying. We're going to get all your information out, and then we'll definitely have that time to open up the round table for all these people. I mean, there's like 10 people in the chat room now, and I know that they all have something to ask or something. But what the material we have left, we probably might not get it all in. So we'll go ahead and put it out there. We'll be extending this conversation. So.
All right, well, let me just try to get the information out there, and maybe we can do a forum to continue this later. But
definitely
picking up where I was in recruiting, we had, I wish that I was starting my career now, just in all the different venues that you have in order to get information out about your program. I mean, when I started as a band director, there was no such thing as the internet. Let alone Facebook and the Marching Podcast and the Fifth Quarter. Those things didn't exist. So everything that we put out was either in handwritten letter or the phone or by mouth. Band directors now, y'all have so many avenues to get information out, so many ways of getting out to the general public what you're trying to accomplish. You need to take advantage of all of them. Take advantage of your social media. Let's use social media for something positive for a change. Put something out on Twitter, out on Facebook, inviting students to come and be a part of the band. They're on Facebook all the time. Find a way to get that information out there to them. I'm going to run down just a quick list of methods of recruitment through communication. The blanket form letter still works. Schools still generally send a letter out at the beginning of the school year inviting or welcoming the students back. Talk to your principal about having a letter about an invitation letter for the band. Put in an envelope with the school's letter. This keeps you from having to pay postage. To go out to every student that's coming into school. Now your information has been put in front of every single student in the school. Secondly, use the school marquee to sign out in front of the school that people drive by. Some people actually read it. Put an invitation out on the marquee. Use social media. Use the school website. Most areas have local radio stations that will do community commercials. Call and see what you need to do, what you need to put out there to put out an invitation for people to come and join your marching band. And, of course, face-to-face. Use school orientation that first week before school opens, their school orientation, open houses. Use all of those avenues to get in front of people and talk to them about your band program and invite people in. Moving on, long-term. Now, that was short-term immediate recruitment we're talking about. Long-term, you need to be working on building a feeder system. And I know a lot of people are going to say, I don't have a feeder system. Then you build yourself one. I'll give you a couple of ways to do that. One thing is visit, often as you can, visit the middle school band and form a relationship with the middle school band director. Even offer some time to come and do some sectionals with his students, because the more your face is in front of his students, the more familiar and comfortable they become with you, the more apt they're going to play in band when they come to high school. Plus, you get to make sure that they are developing the fundamental skills they're going to need when they get to you. So you want to do that. Even possibly invite the middle school band director to work as your assistant band director with marching band. Now the students come from middle school. Hopefully they like their middle school band director. They see the middle school band director working with the high school. They're more apt to come and join the high school band because it's familiarity. Understand that?
That happened to me. That happened to me. I actually just did a chopping it up with my actual high school band director, and I was at a Lutheran grade school association, and then of course we were all feeder schools to the high school. The high school band director would come out and teach band at these schools, or either have an assistant, and the assistant would then be our band director. So then when we had summer concerts, fall concerts, our band director would then go to the band director we already knew about. Then we would combine all the schools together to have, our big fall or spring concert. But definitely that was facilitated because that assistant band director, we were already familiar with him, and it was nothing to just go to the high school with him and join the high school band, so to speak. It was really easy, and it was really familiar too, because basically you were doing a lot of the same things because they were working together. I definitely dig that part, definitely.
Okay. Now, here is how my band went over 200, the school of 600. Here's the real secret. Consider starting a summer band program where you start beginning students in the 5th and 6th grade during the summer. You have a 6th and 7th grade summer band class and an 8th and 9th grade summer band class. Because what I started seeing, I was there long enough to see the students that I started in the 5th and 6th grade, when they came to high school, they played in the band. Plus, I knew they had the fundamental skills they needed to be in the band because I'm the one that started them.
Mm-hmm.
I built my own feeder instead of depending on the middle school director that may or may not have the skills to develop what I needed in the high school level. Plus, the students were now directly familiar with me, so when they came to high school, of course they were going to be in the band. They were with me every summer. So I was developing 50 and 60 students coming in the band each year. Were you about to say something, Michelle?
My next question to you as well. Because it is a travesty out there, but unfortunately there are a lot of middle school directors out there that are actually sabotaging their high school band program. Mm-hmm. It is an unfortunate thing. I hate to even have to bring it up here.
Wow.
But particularly in the show style realm, there are a lot of show style band or high school band directors, and they may have somebody that does not appreciate show style at all in the middle school level. And instead of saying, well, I don't necessarily like what they're doing, but, you should pursue music anyway, they will literally shut down kids from being in band because they don't like what the high school band is doing. And those band directors should be ashamed of themselves. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's me standing on the totem pole for a second. What you have done is you've answered my question there, because you basically have been able to get around that somehow and basically establish your own relationship with kids that'll say, hey, I like being in a high school band, and regardless of, what my director says, if he's for the high school band or against it, I'm going to be in the high school band anyway.
You cannot leave the growth of your band in anyone's hands but yours.
Mm.
And when you're starting students and you're developing them and they're seeing your face every summer, they have built a relationship with you, and therefore they're more apt to become a part of the band when they get to high school. You have to take responsibility for that. I've heard too many band directors say, I can't build a program because the middle school program's not this. Then what are you doing about it? Lastly, consider having a beginning band class in your high school, but open it up to maybe 9th and 10th graders. Because you always have some students that always wanted to be a part of a band, but they may have had a bad middle school band program, so they didn't get in. But now that they're seeing the excitement on high school, they want to learn how to play something. If you're able to have a beginning band class in your high school, number one, that gives you one more band class and one less general music class. But also, once again, you're building your own program because you are teaching people how to play those instruments. I'm rushing through, and I hope we do get a chance to go back over some of this at another time. Retention. Yeah. Recruitment means nothing if you're not doing retention. As a matter of fact, I call retention internal recruiting. Because once you've answered the question of what's in this for me, for new students, you now have to answer the question, what have you done for me lately with students that are currently in your program? If they get in the program and go ahead.
I was going to say, let me I just want to go over your last points before you started retention. And then I'll give it right back to you really, really fast. We left off, we actually were going to finding the potential band students, especially with new directors of schools. So we left off when the principal gave us the keys and we took off, researching the band roster, researching past uniform records, looking through student records over the past couple of years, of course getting the guidance office permission, making personal contacts with the students and with the parents, asking the current band students about the good band members that were once in the band and not there for whatever reason. Make sure that you challenge each student in the program to recruit one additional person to join the band. The band will double instantly. Then you went over the methods of recruitment communication, a blanket form letter, the school marquee, social media, the school website, local radio stations, face-to-face at orientations or open houses, etc. Long-term recruitment, visit and talk with the middle school band directors with your feeder systems, possibly have the middle school directors work with your marching band, creating a summer band program for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and also starting a beginning band program at your high school to make sure that those students develop on the instruments that you know needed the proper instrumentation. So that's where we are now. So we can we can kick it off with retention.
Okay. I'm going to go straight through these bullets, and if we have time, we can go back and discuss them all. This is something that we can come back into. Okay. Retention is just as important, if not more important, than recruitment. Because retention, you're trying to keep a hold of the students that you have now developed into mature musicians. Quickly, some quick ideas to do this, and I wish I had more time to really get into it. Number one thing in retention is keeping a disciplined and well-organized program. You do not want your students to get to the point where they come in and they sit down and they start asking the question, what am I doing here? Why am I wasting my time? You don't want them to ask that question. The way you do that is by having a routine and an organized method of running band rehearsals on a daily basis so it does not look like disorganizational chaos. And most importantly, you have to deal very strongly and even dismiss, if necessary, students that are continual discipline issues for several reasons. One, they're slowing your program down. But two, generally, they're frustrating the good students. Now, the knuckleheads, if you put up with them, they're not going anywhere. So who ends up quitting are your good people. Mm-hmm. So you have to deal with the knuckleheads and get them out, even if it looks like your band's getting smaller in the short term. It's going to help with your retention in the long term. Because that AP student that's taking 2 or 3 AP classes does not want to sit in a band rehearsal where nothing is getting done because the knuckleheads are messing up in the back of the room. Eventually they're going to say, forget this, I could be studying. So you need to have a program that's organized and disciplined enough to hold on to those good students. Second, be willing to listen to the concerns of your students and be willing to act on suggestions from your good student leaders. They've been talking to people in the band. They know what people in the band are unhappy about or want to see more of. Be willing to open your ears and listen to what they're saying and be willing to act because they're trying to help you make the program better so that students stay around. Thirdly, you must have a comprehensive band awards program. And I got to take a minute and talk to you about this.
Okay.
A lot of people go into sports because they get that varsity letter that second year. Okay? I made sure that all of my bands, after 2 years in the band, every student got an 8-inch varsity letter, the same size letter that varsity athletes got, a slightly different design in slightly different colors, so it was unique to band, but they got their varsity letter.
Nice.
You understand that?
And it was different, too. I like that. It was different. I like that. Yeah.
And in every case, you want to make things unique to the band. And the 4-year program, real quick, the first year, all freshmen got a very nice parchment certificate. It was personally designed. It was professionally made. Second year, Every person that had been in the band for a full 2 years got their varsity letter. The third year juniors got a plaque, and they got a medal. And the medal was for them to wear on their uniforms their senior year so that they received recognized for being a senior in the band. It meant the world to them to have something on their uniform as recognition. Any student in my program that lasted for 4 years received a 14 to 16-inch trophy, every single one of them. And I can't tell you the number of times that I heard in passing a student saying, man, I want to get out of the band and get a job, but I'm standing here and getting my trophy. I'm getting my trophy. I worked too hard now to get my trophy. You'd be amazed at how simply giving out a trophy will keep people around. How many times in life do you get to receive a trophy if you're the average person? And it meant something. It was a very, very unique design, and it was a trophy they couldn't get anywhere else. So you need to have a comprehensive awards program. There's a lot of other awards, and I do talk about this in my book too, as well as a really comprehensive reward system built within the band program itself. And we really don't have the time to talk about that here, but get my book, or ask me about it. We'll have another session, and I'll really go into detail about my rank system. When students get scholarships to college for band, you want to make it a big deal. Have it announced during graduation about band scholarship awards. Post it in your band room. You want to keep it in front of students that what you said at the beginning would be an outcome of them being in the band is true, okay? You want to take your band to universities where your previous students have gone and gotten in the band. Once again, so they can see that what you said part of the vision is in place, and that they, too, can eventually get in college band if they stick with your program, okay? And have very special events that no one outside of the band is able to be a part of. We used to have a Christmas ball every year for only band members and one guest. I mean, catered in a nice venue, semi-formal, and only band members and one guest could come. Well, think how exclusive that makes it.
Yeah.
And they enjoyed it. We'd have on Thanksgiving morning, because this is my hometown, we'd open up the gym, we'd play basketball, we'd play football at the school. We would just simply have a really good fellowship among band members that no one else could come and be a part of. So people outside the band are going, dang, I want to be a part of that.
Look what they do, yeah.
Yeah, man, they're always doing something. But once again, special events, special experiences. Might want to have a movie outing in your band room for just band members. Do things that are special to band members that they can't get anywhere else. Okay? One school I taught at, I took the whole band to see Drumline when it first came out. We all went and saw it together. Once again, it was band members. It was a great experience. So you have to find ways that when a student asks, why am I still here, they have some really solid answers to those questions. Retention is more important than recruitment because you've got to hold the mature students that you have developed. You don't want to lose them in the process, even in recruiting new students. You just don't want to do that. How much time do we have left?
We are at 16 minutes. You know what? And we got one more. Let's go ahead and get this last commercial break out the way, and then we'll go ahead. We've got one more bullet here, and then we'll see if we can take, anyone's calls. But, yes, we will go ahead and put that out there. And we'll talk this week, guys, if we can do it a week from today. But we're going to go ahead and this is going to be more of a round table. This last podcast will be for you, the listeners, especially all these people. It's 11 folks in the chat room now. So this next episode is going to be for you guys. We have all of our notes from everything we went over in these last couple. So we're going to go over everything. We're going to discuss everything. Who knows? It might be a two-part round table discussion. We may have some discussions that may go past 90 minutes there. So everyone listening, we'll go ahead and retain this information and keep it going for next week. Go ahead, Dr. Davenport.
Jill, I want to say this. Instead of getting into the last part, maybe we can open the phones up when you come back about the high school stuff.
Okay.
And the last section on small university recruitment. I invite anybody that's new in a small university that's wondering how you're going to recruit on a small budget. I would love for them to email me. We can talk one-on-one about that information. I know there is, one college band director that was interested in what I have to say about that.
Brother Shaw, we gotta holler at Brother Shaw. Brother Shaw, that's my boy now. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we definitely got to make sure he's in it, and we definitely gonna make sure he's out there. We probably might get him on the show to talk a little bit.
All right, let me before you go to commercial break, let everybody marinate on this concern college band. My philosophy is in a college band, no more than 30% of people should be on scholarship. Go ahead to commercial. We'll talk about that when we come back.
All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead to commercial, and hey, that's definitely what we like to sound like. You're here listening to the 2014 90 Degree Director Series podcast show with Dr. Kevin O. Davenport. Thanks for listening.
Hello, this is Duncan C. Gray, Director of Bands at West Charlotte High School and proud graduate of Winston-Salem State University. You are listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
Need to write music and drill? Get it on the field. Outfit your band. Keep your administrator happy and still have a life. Encountering drama in the process, ain't nobody got time for that. Let Block Band Music assist you with musical arrangements and drills to fit your band, and also the equipment, gear, and accessories to keep the visuals, music, and marching on point. Contact blockbandmusic@gmail.com and see how this worldwide minority-owned business can uplift your band.
From photo shoots to graduation pictures, from probates to band footage, from pageants to yard shows, there's only one team you can count on, the Ed.D Productions. Visit the Ed1.com and trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Hello, this is Brenda Henty, teacher at Emmanuel Lutheran School in Olivet, Missouri, and proud graduate of Concordia University, Chicago, Illinois, 1987. You are listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
Okay, guys, we're back, and we'll go ahead and turn the mic back over to Dr. Davenport. We, like you said, the small recruitment budget we'll get some of that information out there, but make sure you can contact the Marching Podcast. You can contact Block Band Music, contact whoever, and we'll get some of that information out there. And who knows, it probably will come out in our roundtable conversations. But we'll go ahead and open up. We got the last 12 minutes before we have to close for the night. I don't know why, but Blog Talk Radio, before this new update, they had it so like I could actually change the studio time in the midst of the episode. Like if something gets good, I could extend it, but I don't know. They took that off, so I can't do it anymore. But there was someone in the queue from the 813 area code, and they've been holding on for a while. Caller from the 813, are you there? You can give us your name and let us know what you have a question about tonight. 813, are you there? I know you've been holding for a while.
I must have lulled him to sleep.
Yeah. Or maybe he might have his phone on mute or something.
He gave out, so he just couldn't take it anymore.
Well, brothers from the 813 or female from the 813, if you're able to call in, call in again, let us know. There's someone from the 504 area code, or the 504 boys, as they say. Someone calling in, go ahead and give us your name and where you're calling from tonight. Person from the 504, are you there? They might have your phone on mute too. I know that.
Oh, I'm sorry. right, let me get her some chicken.
Wow, somebody. Wow, somebody. Well,
give me some chicken too.
Right.
I can use it. Yeah, absolutely.
Wait a second. Is somebody at KFC?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They somewhere, or hey, they could be a Bojangles. Hey, you know what I'm saying? There could be some folks from North Carolina on here listening. Who knows?
Popeyes, man.
Right.
True. 504. That's a Louisiana area code. So that.
Wow.
Yeah, they getting that Popeyes right there.
Yeah, probably so.
Radio sponsored by Popeye's Chicken.
Right.
Wow.
Hey, we'll work because their money is the same. You know, we'll go ahead and support. We can go into, if you want to, maybe a little bit of the university recruitment. If anyone's welcome to call in at 718-664-6025. This is the 90 Degree Director Series with Dr. Davenport. Like I said, if you are in the call, you can welcome to call in. But Dr. Davenport, you want to reiterate, or you want to go over the small university budget?
Let me talk a little bit more about the small university budget.
Okay.
First of all, I said right before we went to commercial that I don't believe in more than 30% people being on scholarship, because I don't believe in building mercenary bands. And what I mean by that is people coming to the program just to get money, because generally they're not committed to your program, they're committed to the money. We all three of us in particular come from very good college band programs, but we know that a lot of people came, Tennessee State, I can speak to this, a lot of people came to Tennessee State to be in the band, just to be in the band. They didn't come there for money. Mm-hmm. They came there because they wanted to be a part of the Tennessee State experience. And I'm sure it's the same way at Jackson State, and it's that way at Hampton, because I can tell you, nobody got no great big scholarship at Hampton, not enough to cover that tuition. But you need to build a program that makes people want to be a part of it because of the program. Then you spend your money on special instruments, trying to go out and get enough French horn players or oboe or two players for concert band. That kind of thing is where you spend your money, not just throwing money at everybody to get them to come there. Build something of quality and excellence, and people will want to come. I did want to throw these out here for college recruitment. One of the quickest ways to build your program is that week of freshman orientation. Of course, you've had students in band camp already, but make one of their assignments is to go over to those freshman dorms the first day they're on campus and start recruiting. Find out who those new freshmen that were played in high school may not know how to get in the band in college. Go out and invite them to come in. You may pick up another 10, 20, 30 students because you put the invitation out there. And since they're already there, they're already committed to being there, you don't have to give them any money to be in the band. They're there already.
Mm-hmm. That caller from the 504 area code callback. Let's see if we can get him on to see what they say. Caller from the 504, you're on. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm on. My name is Emmanuel Scales. Calling from, I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas right now.
Okay, what's going on, man? How you doing tonight, man?
I'm sorry about that, man. I heard I'm on y'all podcast, and I'm taking my family to get something to eat. That's what y'all heard.
Okay.
Gotta eat, man. You gotta eat.
That's right. You feed your family, brother. You already cool with us, man. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, do you have something for Dr. Davenport tonight?
No, I'm just calling it. I'm talking about, especially that's one thing I plan on doing. I am one of those managers at a small school starting a brand new program, and one of the things you just said talked about as far as getting the new band members to go recruit during freshman band camp. That's already on my plate to do.
There you go.
So some of the things I know, like what I just talked about, is also as far as I agree wholeheartedly as far as saving that money for your special needs things. It's French horns because they're hard to come by, and players and stuff like that. But it's also hard for that when you have the band by administration too. To take that, that's something to be taken into consideration.
Absolutely. And let me speak on that point. See, as part of building your program, you not only have to market your program to the students, you have to market it to the administration. You have to see how your program is helping to build that school. And we talked last week before last about the fact that my dissertation proved that students being participating in instrumental music brought up test scores. And you have to be able to tell them those kind of things because you need that administration support. You know, the one thing you need to be able to do for a principal when you have a band is make him stick his chest out. When he can stick his chest out and be proud about his band, he feels good about that. And then you'll get more support when you're doing excellence in your program.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Well, we sure appreciate. And what's your name again, brother?
Emmanuel Scales.
Emmanuel Scales. Oh, we sure appreciate the. And are you from Louisiana, man?
I was born and raised in New Orleans.
Oh, wow. About to say you got that accent though. You know what I'm saying? I knew somebody from that area with that accent, man. So that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
We sure appreciate the call tonight, man. And definitely, you know, if you need anything else, you make sure you can contact the network, and we'll set you straight with Dr. Davenport or whatever you need to continue to develop your program, especially, you know, the small program that you have. So anything that you need, we appreciate the call, and you let us know. We'll help you, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
And no problem. Thanks for the call. You're welcome to call in anyone else, 718-664-6025. It's the 90 Degree Director Series podcast with the great Dr. Kevin Davenport, sponsored by Block Band Music and Publishing and themarchingpodcast.com. Dr. Davenport, you wanted to pick back up with you were talking about in the small budget having the current band members go out to the freshman orientation in those freshman dorms and start to recruit.
Yeah. Another thing that you can do that will actually helps a lot is the band director himself. Take the time to visit general music and music appreciation classes and invite students in those classes to be a part of the band. A lot of times you find the students that come to college that played instruments in high school and didn't get in the band, they'll sign up for music appreciation and general music because they figure those classes are going to be easy. They've got some musical background. And you'll find some treasures sitting in those classes of people that play instruments and would love to continue to play, but either they didn't know how to get in the band over the summer, they didn't know, how to contact folks, or they're apprehensive. They didn't feel like they'd fit in. So that personal invitation can make a big difference and bring your numbers up in that college situation. Once again, these are students that you don't have to offer a scholarship right now because they're already registered in the university. Mm-hmm. So that's where you want to find your students that are in situations where you don't have to dangle money in front of them to get them to be a part of the band. Okay?
Okay. Outstanding. We actually have another caller, someone calling in from the 804 area code. That's Virginia, I believe.
Absolutely.
Caller,
it is.
Go ahead, give us your name and where you calling from this evening.
Good evening. This is Bernard Bradley, band director at Kings Fork High School, Suffolk, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
What's happening, Bernard? How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Hey, man. Bro.
I know I made a call during the very first show, and I wanted to ask a question this time as well. And this one may not even have something to do with this, but I'm hoping this works. For Dr. Davenport, what are some of the strategies you use? You got kids in the program, and you got a decent amount, but how did you convince students maybe to possibly be able to switch instruments?
Well, see, that's where having a vision that you have got them to buy into. I got to the point literally, and the reason I had wonderful instrumentation, I think my last band at Norcom, I had 16 French horns. I didn't have 16 when I started. Matter of fact, probably 12 of them were clarinet players that I had to retrain. But I always used to talk about the fact that I had them so much into the vision and philosophy of what was going on. I could have walked into the room and said, this is a kazoo. If we want our band to stay excellent, we need 30 people to change to kazoo. And I might have had 50 people volunteer. So you want to approach it from the standpoint of it being for the good of the band, number one. Number two, it's a specialty instrument, French horn, oboe, trumpet, tuba. You may want to go about citing the advantages of scholarships for those particular instruments. Because usually the shortages we have are on instruments that colleges actually offer more scholarship money for. Right? French horns, tubas, So you want to tell them, look, if you switch to this instrument, you actually, number one, you're becoming a multi-talented, multi-instrument musician. But number two, you're going to learn to play an instrument that college band directors are dying to get a hold of, so you probably can get more scholarship money on the instrument you're trying to switch them to. What instrument are you trying to switch people to, if you don't mind me asking?
In particular, I'm looking to add more tuba players and French horn players.
I went to Tennessee State on a full tuba scholarship. I actually started as a French horn player. My daughter's a French horn player.
We actually got 10 seconds, you guys. It's about to cut off, so we're gonna continue this conversation next week. Thanks to all for listening.
Wow.
I know we cut us off. Now what's happening now? I think everyone listening live probably got cut off. But in podcast form, they'll be able to hear what they're hearing right now. It's just live and the actual studio time developed. So is the brother? Are you still on the phone, sir? At 8:04?
Am I still
he's
here?
Still on. Yeah, he's still here.
Okay.
So I don't know when it's gonna cut off. But go ahead and we'll wrap it up here. It's just we just lost all the live folks. But when people hit up on iTunes or to listen to this, they'll be able to hear this part. So we'll go ahead. Just go ahead and finish up that part.
Well, then, let me say, man, that's the way you want to approach it. You want to approach that as showing them the benefits for them for switching and how it's going to help the vision of an overall program. Okay? Approach it that way. Of course, on those instruments, the school's providing for them, so they don't have to buy their own. You want to stay out of that when you're trying to switch somebody. But approach it as, their benefit to the band and their benefit to themselves for learning this new instrument. I hope that answers your question.
Definitely. I appreciate that, sir.
Yeah. And you be excited about it, and they will be. And I do want to say this to you, man. I like what you're doing. I judged your band once last year. I'm excited about what I see you doing down there. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to this season.
Okay.
Well, we'll definitely be continuing this conversation next week. Let's go ahead. I don't know how long we got this time to close out. But thank you, Dr. Davenport. We will inform all of our listeners and all the people. This chat room's still open, so still got some stuff. I just don't know when it's going to cut out. But thanks to everyone for listening. We'll continue this conversation, and we'll let people know when the new podcast comes along. Thanks to you, Rashad, as well. Thanks to Block Band Music. Thanks to all our sponsors. That's all the time we have for the show. Check out the website and donate what's in your heart to themarchingpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks to you for listening. And remember, the eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. See you next time.